Welcome back to Survival Minecraft, where we are starting on a brand new project in this Let's Play world. I have brought a couple of cats with me to keep me company because we have moved to an entirely new area. There's nothing really around that you can see in this world, but we have actually built up quite a few things in this world now, and I'm really happy with how everything has been going and how all of the builds have been turning out so far. But I am definitely ready to work on something a little bit bigger. So we have come over to this new area. We aren't that far away from the other places that we've built in, and we will eventually link all of the places together. But for now, we have come over to a brand new area because I think that this little mountain here will be the perfect place for the new project that I have in mind. Now, I want to just jump straight into getting some planning done and working on this base, and I will talk about what the base is going to be while we do it. But first things first, I think we need to clear out a whole bunch of these trees because they are definitely going to be getting in our way, and we will probably be using some dark oak in the build anyway, so that will be helpful for us to clear out some space. So let's go ahead and just get some clearing done and get some planning done. Now that I've put this in, I'm thinking that I may have been slightly too ambitious with the size of this thing. I think we should get some maps and set up a little map area so that we can take a look at this from a bird's eye view as well. Okay, so we've got, that actually might be quite well centered on 4 maps. So we should have, if I can get these in the right order. There we go. That's probably about as centered as I think we're going to get it. Oh, I've missed the corner. That's better. I think this is looking really cool. I actually think I might get some glass and put these in glass so that we can keep this as our first ever map of the plan, and then as we build this and as we grow, we can see how it's changing. So let me pop these out and lock them with some glass first. Now we've got this nice floor plan, top-down view going on here, but we also need to add some height plan to this because not all of these sections are all going to be the same height or the same style or the same shape. So I'm going to start, I'm going to just get some dirt. We're not going to do it all out of wool. I'm going to get some dirt, and we're going to do kind of the planning for the height part of everything and the shape of the actual build as it's going to go up. And while I do that, I will explain a little bit more about what this base actually is and what I'm planning for this huge build that we've got started here. I've never really taken on a challenge like a mega base before, but it's definitely something that I've always wanted to do and just never really had the time to get round to actually doing it. I also have a full-time job and this is all just for fun, but I don't want that to put me off building something that I really want to build, which is this build. So I'm still going to build it. I'm still going to work on a mega base. I'm just going to try and do it in a more realistic way for me, and I think also a lot of people watching probably also don't have all day to play Minecraft and build mega bases, and I also don't want to burn out in the process. So we're going to take on a mega base project, and I am going to do it at a pace that is sustainable for me, and I'm not going to plan how long it's going to take or how many episodes it's going to take or how much I'm going to get done in each episode. We're going to take it slow and we're going to have fun as we build it. I'm also going to be working on the Nether hub at the same sort of time, so I can kind of maybe every now and then we'll do an episode on the Nether Hub and break up this big build so that we can get a break. And if I'm feeling a bit burnt out from it, we can do something else for a little bit. I also need to make quite a few farms, I think, for this area. I probably need a squid farm and an amethyst farm and a couple of other things. So we will also do those as well in between just building an enormous base. And that enormous base is, as you may or may not have already guessed, it is going to be a castle. I know castles are a little bit overdone in Minecraft, but I personally really love them, and I've never really built a huge, big-scale castle before, and it's something I've always wanted to build. So I'm going to build it anyway and link it to the lore of the world and what we've already got going on in this world. I'd really like to incorporate some of the sculk blocks somewhere because I really like those new blocks and the colours going with them. So I think we're going to go for kind of a darker block palette with some blues and purples in there. And I think that will look really cool on a castle. I definitely also want to do the interior. And so I want the interior to be interesting. So I think instead of doing just a regular castle that would be for royalty to live in or something, I think that would also then need like a town or a village around it. And I don't necessarily want to do that on this project. I just want to build a castle. So instead, I think I'm going to make this castle be a magic school, like a school for mages. And then we can kind of do the interior a little bit differently from your standard castle build. We can have classrooms and we can have big library and all sorts of things that will be slightly different from your normal medieval castle build. Probably been done by many, many people before. So we're going to try and make this a little bit different. Okay, I think that I have finished all of the wall planning. I haven't done any of the roof shapes yet because I think I might change those as I'm going to see once I build it what type of roofs I want on each one. I've got an idea in my head, but let's take a fly around and see what this looks like from a distance. Oh wow, yeah, that's definitely going to be a big base. This is definitely going to be a big project. So our entrance is going to be along here, into here, and then this down here will be the way up. We'll do a path kind of winding round like this to get up. Oh, it looks really good from down here. So this is where we will come up from, and we'll kind of wind up the hill up there to the entrance, but we'll be able to kind of look up and see these. This is going to be a bridge. That's why I've not added anything to it. I'm very happy with how this plan is currently looking, and I'm now even more excited to start building. So I've extended the map board here a little bit so that we can have a project board over here, because I think that, like I mentioned, there are quite a few little farms that I might need to finish this project just to get the resources that I need specifically for this base, and also a few things that I will need for the Nether Hub that I want to build as well. So I'm going to use this as a little project board and put down all of the things that I'm going to need onto some signs here so I can keep track of what I'm doing and what still needs to be done. If I decide there's anything else that I end up needing, I can add those on here as well. So I've got two different coloured signs, one for things I need for this base, and then I'm going to use the warped signs for things I need for the Nether Hub project, so that I can easily tell which is which and what I need something for. So let's start with this project. I'd really like to have candles in this building. I think decorating with candles is going to look amazing. So we have a very small manual farm for honeycomb already. So I think I want to set up an automatic honeycomb farm. And then I will also need string. So either a spider farm, or I might just make a big mob farm, because mob drops in general are useful. So we'll put those together on one sign because they're kind of for the same thing. They are to make candles. We are also definitely going to need an amethyst farm because I'd like to use amethyst blocks in this build. I'm sure that we'll be able to just dig underground directly below us and find a geode somewhere near enough that we can set up a little quick amethyst farm there. So that one should be quite easy to do. I will also need to, at some point, connect up this base to the other bases, which is not really a part of this base, but is kind of a separate little project to make a path. So I think I'm going to add that on here as well. And we will obviously have the nether hub, but I think it would be nice to have a path in the overworld as well. For the nether, I definitely am going to need some black dye. So we are going to have to build a squid farm at some point. Probably not here, probably somewhere else. But that will definitely be something that we need to work on. Oh, I just thought of something else for this base. I'd like to use some skulk. So we probably want to build a skulk farm as well. Maybe just a small little skulk farm somewhere. And the other thing I need to do, which is not necessarily to build the nether hub, but will be in the nether, is upgrade all of my gear to netherite. I've had diamond for ages, but I've just been wearing diamond this whole time. So I think while we're in the nether, while we're working on the nether hub, I think that would be a good time for us to do some netherite mining as well and try and get ourselves all upgraded to netherite gear too. And I think those are all of the things that I can think of for now that I definitely know that I'm going to need, other than, of course, just collecting up an absolute ton of resources to be able to actually build this thing in the first place. These are more of the specific farm blocks that I will need to do something other than just go mining to collect. The last thing that I want to do is just show you what kind of block palette I want to use in this base, and then we're kind of out of time to actually get any of it built, but I'm very happy with the planning that we've done, and we will start building in the next episode. The block palette I'm going to use, I'm going for a slightly darker look, so we're going to go with cobbled deep slate, we're going to go with some basalt, probably maybe polished basalt as well. I think those three colours all go very well together and kind of blend, and we can do a bit of gradient with them. Then we can also use the deep slate bricks, which are slightly darker, maybe closer to the bottom. Some tuff, also similar. And then I think higher up we'll also have a bit of stone brick as well, just to get a slightly lighter texture a bit higher up. So this will be kind of our main base palette of blocks that I will use for the kind of majority sections of like the walls and things like that in the castle. And then we will also be using dark oak, maybe some unstripped spruce, because these two colours are very similar and I want it to keep all of the wood quite dark. And also maybe some nether brick. I like this colour with this palette. I think this block is really difficult to use sometimes, but I feel like it fits quite well with dark oak and the deep slate, the darker deep slate texture as well. So maybe some like roof trims or just some small details with that, not kind of huge walls of netherite brick, definitely not. And then for some small extra bits of colour, I've got a few options. I'm not sure if I'm going to use all of these or just some of them, or I'll kind of see how it goes and how overwhelming it ends up looking with lots of things. But I know I definitely want to use amethyst, and I definitely want to use skulk. And I want to keep the colours in this sort of blue-purple range. There are a lot of blocks in this game that have the kind of green teal sort of colour. I don't want to use any of those kind of green colours. I want to stay closer to the purple side of the blue. So while the planks are a very green colour, I think that the unstripped version of the warped stem actually might be a really nice accent colour as well. And we'll turn these into logs so that you can't see the inside part. So it will all just be the purple with these small amounts of blue. And then also maybe some terracotta, purple terracotta, I think looks quite nice. I'm not sure if that's too pink. So maybe that one. I think the grey glazed fits really well. And of course, just the purple glazed. I think this will fit really well in the build as well. Again, I'm not sure exactly how many of these I'm going to use, but I wanted to have the options here that I can kind of pick and choose and see where I get. These two, the amethyst and the skulk, definitely I'm going to be using both of those. And then we will just see how much more variation we end up needing as we go. And then of course, the pearlescent froglight is the perfect colour for lights in this base. I definitely want to keep the lighting sort of matching the theme of this area, so we're not going to be sort of spamming these around, but I think that these would be really good to use in some places. And then lastly, maybe in very, very few select places, I might use Crying Obsidian or maybe even the Gilded Blackstone. These 2 blocks are really difficult to collect, and this is all I have of both of them so far. So I won't be using this very much, but I think that they are both good options for just a slightly different colour if we want something to look extra special in any particular place, especially actually the Gilded Blackstone with the yellow being very different from the purple. That might be a good thing to have somewhere to draw attention to the fact that it's very different. This is my colour palette. This end here is kind of what most of it is going to be, this bit, and then these are kind of just more options for small details and small extra bits of colour. And of course, we'll use the stairs and slabs and walls and all the different variations of these that we can. And I am very happy with this colour palette as it is. We are definitely going to need to collect up a lot of these resources. I have a fair bit of stone ready to go, but a lot of these things I'm going to just have to sit and mine for. I don't even know where to start in terms of estimating how much of each block I will need. So I think that we'll kind of just build this in sections and just collect it up as we need it and see how we get on, because even just collecting up resources is going to take so much time. It actually just takes ages to plan these things out. But in the next episode, we are going to get started on actually getting some building done in this area and start putting maybe some walls in to give ourselves an idea of how this build is going to look. I hope that you are as excited about this new project as I am. I am very excited about this build, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Goodbye.